From the 1011 Now Alert Center, this is Morning Pulse.
Good morning, this is Craig Allison with your Morning Pulse for Friday, January 16th. We'll get to our stories here in a minute, but first our question of the day. Just over half of adults say this has made them a better cook. What is it? Answer was social media. Our Brandon Rector and Chanel Taylor McCarthy got that right this morning. If you want to participate, though, you can put your guesses into our Facebook page at 1011 News and put your guesses underneath the Facebook post with the question of the day. We read them off on air, then the answer towards the end of 1011 this morning. Now, that being said, let's get into our headlines for this morning. Starting things off on the international side. Bipartisan delegation of U.S. lawmakers will meet with leaders of Denmark and Greenland today to reassure them of congressional support despite President Donald Trump's threats to seize the Arctic island. Two vans were seen arriving at Parliament where the Greenlandic flag was flying. Trump has said Greenland is vital to U.S. security because of its strategic location and large supply of minerals, and has not ruled out the use of force to take it. European nations this week sent small numbers of military personnel over that way to the island at Denmark's request. The 11-member U.S. delegation, led by Democratic Senator Chris Coons, is scheduled to meet with Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen and her Greenlandic counterpart, Jens Frederik Nielsen, according to Frederiksen's office. Delegation includes Republican Senators Tom Tillis and Lisa Murkowski, though it is largely composed of Democratic lawmakers. Throwing things over to your local headlines now, and new this morning, a car went ablaze in Northeast Lincoln overnight, prompting an emergency response that you can see here. This is the scene at 39th and Cornhusker, and the fire was called in around 12:30 a.m. There's the car right there, and you can see the SUV seemingly parked in the middle of a cul-de-sac area. Much of the roof burns through and charred. Authorities on scene say they're still investigating how this started, but once we know more, we'll be sure to keep you updated on our 1011 Now News app and our website and on Roku. Your third story in our crime tracker this morning, and also new this morning, a former employee of the city of York is behind bars after being accused of grooming a teen and possessing child porn. 45-year-old Jeremy Metcalf is charged with possession of child pornography and intentional child abuse, among other charges. According to a court affidavit, the investigation started after one of Metcalf's relatives found nude photos of a 17-year-old girl on his phone. Interviews then showed that Metcalf had been having sexually explicit conversations with the girl since October. Court documents say Metcalf was working for the city of York during the alleged grooming, but is not employed there anymore. He'll be in court on January 26th. Now for your fourth story, Nebraska State Auditor Mike Foley is alleging favoritism by the governor in a new report, claiming Pillen steered a $2.5 million state contract to his preferred choice instead of following the required bidding process. From the Nebraska Examiner reporting, contract was awarded in May of 2024 by the Nebraska Department of Economic Development to a single bioeconomy consultant and lobbyist, Julie Bushel. Foley says state law was broken because the department, under Pillen's direction, bypassed the required bidding process for contracts over $50,000. Instead, the contract was labeled an emergency contract, allowing the department to skip bidding. But neither Pillen's office nor the department explained what the emergency was or why Bushel's firm had to be chosen.
You had 3 extra months to do a bidding process, and you knew this was coming. So you could have started that bidding process a lot earlier and allowed the whole world to know of this contract opportunity and bid on it if they wanted to. They skirted all that and said, no, we're giving it to one person, it's an emergency. I don't buy that.
Foley sent an audit letter to Pillen's office earlier this month, noting the contract did not comply with legal requirements. He's also asking the legislature to consider tightening the rules this session to require more offices, including his, are notified before any emergency contracts are approved. Any other consequences for Pillen or the department are outside of his office's authority, though you can read this full story on our website at 1011now.com. Over to your fifth story. As the legislative session begins, one state senator is outlining his priorities for constituents. Senator George Duncan held a town hall yesterday evening in Northeast Lincoln. He says a key focus is the state's budget shortfall, which Pillen yesterday referred to as a, quote, make-believe budget crisis. Duncan says he wants to balance it without hurting average Nebraskans. He argues that corporate and high-income tax cuts have contributed to the deficit, adding Governor Pillen's comments were, quote, alarming and confusing.
To be told to not worry about it and look the other way, I think is incorrect, and certainly I think it's irresponsible. I don't think we can just simply cut our way out of this budget deficit. And right now, what I'm concerned about is the governor's proposals are going to cut essential services to everyday Nebraskans and make Nebraska the place that nobody wants to move to, and certainly a place that people don't want to stay.
Duncan says one concern he frequently hears from constituents is that voters' voices are not being respected at the state level, and he hopes to change that this session. He also plans to introduce several bills aimed at improving access to health care for Nebraskans. And wrapping things up with your final story, we usually try to end on the lighter side, but a serious story for this incoming weekend of winter weather, finally in season, with temperatures that could drop to the single digits. One local shelter is already beyond capacity and expects the number of people seeking help to climb even higher. People's City Mission says their official capacity is 200, but they tell us they now have 450 people inside, more than double. Brian Davis says the shelter doesn't turn anyone away, making the need for donations even more urgent right now. The items needed most are gloves, hats, and coats, especially for men. As they continue to welcome donations through their doors, they are also changing their operations this weekend to ensure everyone in the community has what they need.
We're doing all we can to have enough staff here. We have some people actually working some extra hours this weekend, even during the night shift. And of course, we're doing all we can to make sure we have enough food and clothing on hand for people as they come in, because a lot of times people come in without very much.
If you're looking to donate to the People's City Mission, they've just started their annual food drive that is running through the beginning of March. Again, just be ready for that frigid weekend. And as I'm saying that, that's going to be your morning pulse for our Friday morning. We'll wrap things up with a look at your 7-day and then tossing things over to Brandon Rector. It's a cold start this morning, but it's going to get even colder as we go throughout the day.
Good Friday morning. Meteorologist Brandon Rector with you in the 1011 Severe Weather Center. Winter weather advisory in place until this evening for part of northern Nebraska. We also have a high wind warning and wind advisory in effect for parts of the state until this evening, with wind gusts of up to 50 to 70 miles per hour possible. Mostly cloudy to cloudy, cold and windy for today. There's also a 30 to 40% chance of flurries and scattered snow showers. So not everybody may see snow today, but can't rule anybody out and can't rule it out at any time of the day either. Be aware of that snow and wind combination leading to some reduced visibility. That snow chance should decrease as we make our way through the evening. A trace to an inch of snow will be possible for those of us that see the snow today. A few isolated locations could see some higher amounts. Temperatures at noon in the upper 20s to upper 30s. By 4, we're in the low 20s to mid 30s. And at 8, it's low teens to upper 20s.
From the 1011 Now Alert Center, this is Morning Pulse.